Cool. And once we have that, then cool. So basically, by default, Unreal isn't going to start the AR session. So we have to add a little bit of logic that is going to start it and end it whenever the game itself starts and ends. So we're going to need a blueprint to do that. It seems like Unity has a built-in level blueprint that is basically the like global built-in blueprint for the whole level. So if you go to blueprints, which I'm not sure where that is in the UI. Yeah, up there. Yeah, there should be open level blueprint.
Yep.
Cool. And so on begin play, there's that. If you like drag off of that and release it somewhere, that is going to like, yeah. So we want a start AR session node. Yeah, there we go. And then for the asset, there should be like a select asset drop down under session config, and select our AR session config node. Yeah. This is super cool how like explorable this is, that you're just like, I know I want something to happen when the game starts. Let's figure out what by browsing. That's super cool.
Yeah.
And then exactly the same thing when we end the session for a stop AR session.
I think we have to add that, I guess, no? Because this says event trick. I don't see the stop over here.
Is there not an event end play? We have to create one. Cool. So if you right click in an empty spot, then you can create a new.
Is that a function or an event? I think is it a stop AR?
So event end play is what we need to create first.
As far as I see, these are functions. So I guess.
Well, if you right click. Yeah. So can you try searching for event end play?
Oh. Right.
End END.
END. Okay.
Yeah.
Yay.
There we go. Awesome. Yeah. Cool. So now we have the equivalent end to our start, and then perfect. And here we'll do it. It's a stop AR session.
Yay.
Cool. So this is going to start and stop our AR session when the game starts and stops, but we still don't have a player character. So if we're going to add a blueprint. So if you...
I'm going to compile and save.
Yeah, awesome.
New blueprint, right?
Sorry, no, under in the content browser. Add new blueprint class.
Okay. Under the blueprints, I'm going to add, I guess.
Class? Under all classes.
Yeah.
Select blueprint class because we want a blueprint class rather than C++. And we want to under all classes. We want to search for a default pawn. I'm not sure how this is different from a pawn, but maybe it has some default behavior that's helpful for us.
And what should we name it?
They want us to call it MR pawn.
Okay. Double click.
Beautiful. And then, so once you've opened it, so under the components panel, you want to look for collision.
So add component collision?
It should already have collision. We're trying to disable it because we don't want our HoloLens character to be able to collide.
Gotcha.
So you can see it there in the list.
This one. Yes.
Yeah.
And
and there should be a collision presets on the right hand side that opens up when you click it, I think.
Oh, I see. Here, collision presets.
And you want to set it to no collision.
Here. No collision.
Cool. And we want to do the same thing for the mesh component that's a child of the collision component.
And not this. No collision. Yes.
Awesome. And then we need to add a camera component.
not to closing this.
So-
Close the
Oh.
whole thing. Great. Be right back.
Hopefully we didn't lose any work.
Yeah. I'm just bringing some excitement to our day. Open level, main, open. Okay.
There we go. Awesome.
So let's check our MR pawn. Were we doing this? No, I think we created a new one, right? Which was the default.
That was
the
MR pawn.
pawn.
Yeah, it's confusing because we're making a chess app and we were talking about an Unreal pawn rather than a chess pawn.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Yeah, so that MR pawn is definitely what we want.
Cool. What was? Let's check the last thing that we did. Was the last
Yes.
thing making it?
So we want to check the collision settings for both the mesh component and the regular collision component.
Yeah.
I don't know why the interface is different this time.
Yeah. Moment collision. Okay.
I wonder. Well,
No collision.
I think this is going to be a lot easier if we could actually see it in the left side browser.
Yes.
Is it in this? Has it been added to the scene?
No.
Maybe we should add it to the scene, and maybe
Can you
that'll
add-
show up the. Yeah, sure.
Oh, so do
Oh,
you need
maybe-
location for this?
Oh, well, I said that. I think what I was actually hoping would happen is it would trigger that. What was the name of that UI? The
Blueprint UI.
the component pane on the left screen instead of the place actions pane.
Okay, yeah, I found it. It was under blueprint,
Okay.
open level
Oh.
blueprint.
I think that is not what what I'm trying to do is to get us back to where we were, where on the left-hand side of the screen we were looking at all of the components that were attached to the pawn, and then on the right-hand side of the screen we could view the details for a specific component, as opposed to this like place actors pane on the left-hand side that we're looking at.
Yeah. It's this one, right?
I don't think so. I think that is specifically the blueprint editor, which isn't what we want. Before we had the level, open, while also having the board and the white king open. This, yeah. This feels like a UI problem. Like in Window, can we change what editor panes are visible?
Okay. Report.
Maybe try looking at levels. No, it's a list of levels. Maybe if you open the MR pawn, also like anyone in the chat, if you are more familiar with Unreal than we are, feel free to chime in. Do you want to try when you double clicked the MR pawn and it opened up that pane again? Do we want to see what pane that is?
MR pawn.
So this is the class defaults pane, I think, because I'm looking at that tab just below the compile button.
So the other one was here, game mode base. No.
So what we want is the components panel, is what we're trying to find.
Nope.
If we go to Window, is the components panel an option? Interesting. I wonder.
Editor preferences. Open assets. Maybe would that do? We weren't doing AR. No, right? We were doing the MR pawn.
Yeah, we were doing the pawn.
Okay. View options.
If you right click the pawn in the content browser, it will let us know how to do that.
Oh, cool.
Like Yeah, so if we double click on it, then it will open. Like that is not necessarily what we want. I wonder what happens if we click browse. Oh, hey, Michael. Yeah, so we're looking at this, but it is not giving us the same view we were seeing before it closed.
Oh, browse. Okay, I see. Cool.
And then go back to the main window because I saw that flash. Nope, not quite right. Curious. This is really curious. All we want to do is view the components pane. This shouldn't be difficult.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's a very roundabout way to do this. Why don't we delete the MR pawn and then recreate it from scratch? And since the last time when we double clicked it, it showed up the right thing.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing, but just didn't say thank you. Okay, so blueprint class, right?
A blueprint class, yeah. And then under all classes, it's default pawn. Cool.
Learning is painful.
And we called it MR pawn.
Yes.
And then if we double click it, what's going to happen?
Ah.
Okay, there we go. Beautiful. Cool.
And what is this panel called? Where do I find it out? No, I don't know.
For now, I'm happy to be grateful that we found it. So again, then, for both the collision component and the mesh component, we have to disable collision detections. Oh, right. Michael's saying he thinks we converted it to a data-only blueprint somehow. Which that might make sense if it sort of we saved it, we exited Unreal, and then we opened it up again, and it said, oh, this pawn, there's nothing associated with this blueprint, so therefore it should be a data-only blueprint, I guess, maybe.
I see. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. I'm not going to close this. Okay, I'm just going to save the current. Okay.
Cool. So if we go back in there, separate from the two collision things, we need to add a camera component to it.
Okay. Add component, camera?
Yep. And they just want us to call it camera.
That's easy. Okay.
And then compile and save it.
Okay. And
cool.
We don't have to do anything with the location of the camera, I guess. Okay.
Nope. 000 is great. I think once it is properly wired up to HoloLens, I think the idea is that the user actually moving around will automatically move that camera for us. So it seems the last piece we are missing is the game mode, which is going to configure a bunch of things, including that this pawn is the default pawn to use. So we need to add a new blueprint class, and then in all classes, we're looking for game mode base.
Blueprint class and game mode.
Game mode base.
So I just noticed we lost the configuration too.
Oh, yeah. We'll have to. Let's call this MR game mode. Yeah, that's not good. So let's.
Oh no, it's here. Never mind.
Oh, there, it's still there. Cool, great. Right, because we were looking at our level blueprint and saw that we still had those wired up. Fine. So open up the MR game mode, and then in the class, so on details on the right under classes, we want our default pawn class to be our MR pawn. So we can tell it this is the player we should spawn. And then we can compile and save.
Close.
Yep. And then we need to tell the game that this is the game mode we're using. So if you go edit project settings, maps and modes on the left in that first section.
Yeah.
And then the default game mode should be MR game mode. And then for both under default maps, both of those should be main, which that will solve our problem of opening the wrong level.
I guess. Does anyone know what the map refers to? I'm not sure what that means.
I'm guessing they're letting us select levels. So I guess the question is, are the words map and level used interchangeably, or what is the relationship between a map and a level?
Yeah. My guess is this, we just define the starting scene, right? Like start from here.
Yeah.
I think, okay. Right.
Cool. So theoretically, we have now completed this step of the tutorial. So now we get to go to the really exciting part, which is we get to download the Mixed Reality Toolkit UX tools.
Oh, cool. I actually have it downloaded.
Awesome. So in the root folder of the project, you want to make a plugins folder and then copy the UX tools plugin there.
Okay. Basically,
for anyone watching, while Ishiguro does this, like the Mixed Reality UX tools, this is a project that Microsoft maintains, an open source project that's going to give us like a bunch of interactions built in for free for VR and AR devices. Like if you've used Mixed Reality Toolkit in Unity, this is the same thing but for Unreal, and for some reason we call it the Mixed Reality UX tools instead of Mixed Reality Toolkit. Michael's saying a map can be a level or a world, whereas a level can be a world if no other levels will be added, but generally it's part of a world, and a world is a collection of levels that are connected to each other. If you use streaming, you'll put different levels together. Okay. So there's like a nested hierarchy thing going on where for our purposes now, we can say, yes, a map is a level. But if we had a game where we had a whole bunch of different levels that were connecting to each other in different ways, like it is subtler than that, because there are ways to connect them that matters a lot if you're so like if you have a large AAA game where your like player level is too large to load in contiguously, like it seems like this might help out with things like live asset streaming.
Nice.
Cool.
Thank you, Michael. I think we have to be open or something. Yeah.
So with the tutorial is saying just clone or download the latest, create a folder called plugins, copy it in, and restart. Yeah.
Okay. Save all levels.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like we have not yet fully understood at what point you actually need to save and how you actually save.
Yes. These are fine real. Okay. Everything is there. How exciting.
Awesome. Delightful.
Except the plugins folder, which I don't see here. I wonder if I needed to see that. Okay, I think we are supposed to enable seeing that, right?
I am not sure. If you don't see the UX tools content section in the content browser, click View options, Show plugin content.
Show plugin content. Oh, it is here. Okay. Is it under assets? Nope. Blueprints? Nope.
Are we sure we put this in the right folder? Or like in the right project?
That's a great question. Let me check all my recent. Okay, I think we could open the folder from here. Do you see it?
Some woohoo is saying you need to click the little button next to filters to show folders, and just under the add new button in the content browser.
Filters?
Just below you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reset the filters or? To see where. Okay.
There we go.
Oh no! Thank you.
There we go.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Great. Thank you. Awesome.
Woohoo!
Oh, the next button next to filters. Sorry. Yeah. Cool. So we know it's there. So we need to add some hand interaction actors. So the UX tools have this concept of a hand interaction actor that automatically wires up both. If there is something you can interact with that you are far away from, it'll do like remote laser beam edit, interact with it, or if you're close to something, you can just interact with it. Mm-hmm. Cool. So we need to open the MR Pawn blueprint. And we need to go to the event graph, which is what we're looking at. Awesome.
Wait a minute. I think we don't have the event play. Well, we have to hook these up again.
Yeah. Well, no, this is right. So we hooked up event begin play for the level, whereas now we're looking at the blueprint just for the pawn. Yeah. But you do want to drag away from event begin play, because basically what we want to say is when this blueprint loads and we start playing with this pawn, we want to spawn a hand interaction actor. So you want spawn actor from class. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then under the class dropdown, you want to search for UXT hand interaction actor.
Cool.
Awesome. And then from the hand interaction node, drag and release the execution pin. So on the right side.
This one?
I think the execution pin. I think the execution pin. Wait, I'm not. I think that is the arrow in the top right.
Ah.
And you want to search for set hand function.
Do you?
It might be easier to pull out and look for the UXT hand interaction actor class.
Interaction actor class. Yeah.
No, that's going to cast it. I think that's going to be like casting it in the programming sense. What the exact text in this tutorial says is, where did that go? Drag and release, search for the set hand function in the UXT hand interaction actor class. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the UXT interaction, and we can set the one for left, great. And then we want to do the exact same thing again. So from, a thing that is curious is the screenshot in the tutorial has it going serially. Oh, okay, that's what's happening here. Cool. That sort of makes sense. I guess it is mirroring the control flow of like one line of code following another, and each thing can only have one entrance and one exit.
Okay, and do I change the class to UXT hand interaction actor again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And change it to right?
I don't fully understand why, but interesting. I wonder if we are using a different version of the tools than in the tutorial, because in the tutorial, the tutorial has you adding that explicit set action because the UXT hand interaction actor doesn't have that as a configuration option. So if we want to set it, you need to have that explicit set action. I suspect we can. I suspect we can just set left and right inside the actors and delete the set function entirely. Would be my guess.
Yeah. Well, we can try.
That makes more sense. The next thing that we're missing is they need an owner and they need an initial transform location. The initial transform location doesn't actually matter because the hand interaction actors, like as soon as they're visible and the HoloLens is doing its thing, they're just going to jump to its place. But they like need that input to avoid a compile error, so we need some defaults.
I have the compiler error already. Yay!
Yeah.
I tried to compile already.
Yeah, Michael is laughing about Unreal forever outdated documentation. At least in this case, we are frustrated at Microsoft because we're following a tutorial written by people adjacent to our team.
Yes.
So I will always rat on companies for bad documentation, but in this case, at least it is not Tim Sweeney's fault. Cool. So we want to drag and release a pin off of one of the spawn transform pins, so the orange ones. And you want to make a make transform node. And then you can also drag the return value to the other spawn transform, so both spawn actors get that return. And then at the down, cool, and that's fine. It can just stay at 0, 0, 0 because we don't actually care about it. And then in both of the spawn actors, we need to find the owner pin. They say if you click the down arrow at the bottom of the spawn actor, that'll reveal more options. And so if you set the owner, you need to drag off owner and create a new node. And if you just search for self, and it'll be called like get reference to self. Yeah.
Same thing.
And then just drag it to the other self.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think I'm assuming self is going to refer to the MR pawn. That we are editing the blueprint for.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, this makes sense to me. I like I'm digging these blueprints.
Yes. The color coding is helpful too. You see blues, to blues and such.
Yeah. And then if we compile and save, we should be good. And hopefully compile will get rid of those errors.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah! Cool, and we can return back to the main window then.
Yeah, compiling without errors has never been as easy in C++ before blueprints.
That's I'm actually super curious to dive into Unreal C++. I assume I will just use blueprints, but I've heard they handle memory management for you. I have heard it described as very C#-ish, even for C++.
Yeah, I actually bought a book, Learn C++ with Developing Games. Maybe we can do those tutorials one day together too.
Nice. And yeah, Michael's saying blueprints can become super cumbersome, but it's such a powerful tool for people who think more visually like him. Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
I think we were talking about last week too, how cool it is that things like the text, setting up textures and properties for 3D assets, where that sort of visual setup makes a lot of sense. It's really cool that you're using the exact same interface and concepts across everything in your game. I really like that.
Yeah. Michael,
cool.
have you been building games?
Oh, I know Michael. I've known Michael for many years.
Oh, you do? Okay.
He works in games professionally, yeah.
Should we ask what's your favorite tool, Unity or Unreal? No. Moving on.
Yeah, cool. So we have these hands. We need to be able to do something with them. Yeah, it depends. That's a very good, well-measured answer. a safe, nuanced answer for any question about tooling. Cool. So it seems like there's a thing called manipulators that is a component that responds to this hand input and just automatically gets you the ability to pick stuff out. So if we open the board blueprint, Michael's saying he really likes UE4 for prototyping if he needs to code. That makes a lot of sense, being able to throw together a blueprint as opposed to writing some C#.
It helps you to think too.
Yeah. So under root, so you want to add a component that is a UXT generic manipulator.
Okay.
Yep. And they just...
Do we name it something else?
Nope, that's totally fine. And then if you click it, and in the details panel on the right-hand side, if there's a generic manipulator section, in the middle there, we can decide if we want one-handed or two-handed manipulation. We can set how rotation works. There's a bunch of other stuff we can change. They don't tell us what to do. They just say, change whatever you want.
Yeah. It is... Oh, okay. So I actually was playing with the example I loaded on HoloLens and scaling gave me a problem, so I'm gonna just turn it off for now.
Awesome. I was thinking I keep like subconsciously doing like an OK symbol, which I shouldn't, because that is some alt-right nastiness. So apologies.
I mean, they just ruin everything.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool. And then I would compile and save, and we want to do the exact same thing for our white king as well. And then we will be actually ready to test this and see if our fake Unreal hands can modify some stuff.
So under root UXT hands, no, not constraint.
Generic manipulator. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike's saying he's, after not coding for like 10 years, he was able to functionally prototype after a few days of Unreal tutorials, which is wild.
It is, yeah. Okay. I compile and save, I guess.
Did you remove scaling from that one too?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, sorry, I missed it while I was looking at chat. Cool. So if we hit play, let's see if we get some hands. Yeah! So if you hold down Alt, holding down Alt controls the left hand, and left shift controls the right hand.
So I am holding down Alt, but...
moving your... it looks like it should be like scrolling moves you forward and backwards, and moving the mouse.
And the other one was shift?
Left Alt and left shift, it claims.
Left, What?
This looks like is curious.
Yeah. What is that yellow thing that's coming out of it? I don't know. I'll do it again.
Try it again.
Okay.
Oh, it's interesting that like it looks like you're not sending mouse input to the game. You're still controlling the UI. Interesting.
Because my two computers are sharing the mouse, and yeah, that might be because of that. Let's try it here. And click, right? Like with Alt and clicked, or?
I wonder if you just want to like click, if like clicking in the scene first will like give the scene focus instead of like right now, like when you click on the hand shows up in the pane, so it is still not. Yeah, it just says if you hold down the left Alt key, it'll control the left hand.
And the Shift key.
Which I think it just moved slightly. Maybe? No, maybe that's not.
Okay. Also, the other thing we could try is running it in the emulator. Not the emulator, actually, with connecting with the holographic remoting.
Yeah, let's try it.
Yeah.
I wonder if there is other setup we need to do, because there is like, this is the end of step 4 of this tutorial. Step 6 walks you through setting up remoting and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So I wonder if we can either fiddle around or go skip step 5 for now and go to step 6. Some woohoo in the chat is also saying, not sure if it'd make a difference, but try playing in selected viewport. I think they maybe saw it in simulation mode.
What do you mean by selected viewport?
Yeah, where did you see simulation mode?
I see it now. Thank you. Thank you. Oh,
yeah. Oh, yeah, beautiful.
Okay. Yay!
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's amazing.
I win.
Oh, can you try to like flip the board with both hands?
Let's see. Why?
I appreciate like asking you to like manipulate with these hands is pretty ridiculous.
Okay, hold on. I'm coming for you, board. Okay, it's hard to tell like how close I am.
Yeah, no.
Ah, okay, yes.
Oh, that's really fun.
Yes. Nice.
Amazing.
Okay. Gonna stop it. All right.
Cool. So I guess there's a question now for a time check. It is now 5:53. I think it is. I think it is reasonable that we could keep going and try to get through the next step, which is basically adding a reset button. So after you futz around with all the piece and board, you can reset it. And so this will walk us through like the UX tools button and wiring up button functionality, and that feels like a good chunk of work to do before we call it.
Yes, that sounds good.
Awesome.
I'm trying to. Okay. Focus. I thought F is supposed to work, but anyways, never mind. Go ahead.
Cool. So it looks like conceptually what we're going to be doing is both our king and our board are going to get functions attached to them so they will have like a reset function, even though this is entirely in blueprints, and that like resets them back to an initial position. Or maybe it looks like just the piece, not the board, and then we will wire up a button that calls that function when pressed. So if you open the white king, and then there should be a function section under my blueprint on the left towards the bottom.
Yep. Add function.
Yep. And so if you add, and they want to call it my function, or sorry, reset location. That makes more sense. Oh, too much reading tutorials.
Yeah.
Cool. So drag and release from that reset location and create a set after a relative transform node.
Transform, yes.
Nice. And then it looks like you can, if you right click anywhere else on the event graph, so like not dragging off of something, just wherever, create a make transform. And negative 26, 4 and 0 for a location. I wonder if we could have just dragged from new relative transform, if that would have worked or not. I'm kind of curious.
We can still try.
Touche. Oh, okay, we could have. Cool.
So here.
Cool. And that is the entirety of our function.
And do we... Oh, okay, now we are going to create a button and such.
Yeah. So in the content browser, add new blueprint class. And we're looking for a simple button.
So simple button is not their BP simple button, but I am assuming that the name has changed.
Yeah, I'm guessing that is a blueprint simple button, and there is also a C++ simple button. Would be my naive guess. I will make a note to update that in the tutorial we're working through.
Okay.
Which at least, like, if anyone was watching last week, there were a lot more mistakes and errors like that in the earlier steps of the tutorial than we run into today. This is so much more straightforward.
Select, yeah.
Yeah.
And reset button. Maybe.
Yeah, perfect. And then open on up that blueprint. And in the components panel, if you open up the pressable button. Yep. And if you go all the way to the event section on the right. And you want to add an on button pressed event.
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
This is so much easier than the Unity stuff, actually.
Yeah.
It was harder to find. Yeah.
Cool. So before we can drag anything there, we need a reference to the white king. So in the variable section and on the left side in the bottom, search for white king in the object reference.
Oh, you can search.
Yeah, plus, name it. Yeah, name it white king. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
And then if you select the drop down. Oh, or maybe not. I mean, I guess on the right-hand side. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Next to variable type, search for white king.
Nice.
Awesome.
Object reference.
Yep, exactly. And then you want it to check the box for it to be instance editable. That will allow that lets the level set the variable. And then drag the variable onto the board.
Get
white king. And then drag white king output. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Pointer or the button?
Sorry, one sec. Drag. It says to drag the white king output pin and release to place a new node. And so then you're going to pick the reset function, the reset location. And then go from the output of the button, press drag it in. Yeah. Yeah, I'm guessing the button is if you want a reference to the actual button object. Would be my guess.
Oh, yeah. Change the color and such. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Cool. So they claim if we compile and save and run this, then we will have a functioning reset button.
And I think we have to just place the button, right?
Yes, I assume you're right. Did I miss something? Yes, okay, yeah, drag it in, set it to 50, negative 25, and 10.
50, negative 21?
25. Negative 25.
And
10. And then under default, the next section down, we need to set the white king. So back, if you open the button again, the button that is in, if you exit out of this, so this is like the equivalent of in Unity setting the properties of a specific instance of a game object. So if you click the button, then underneath transform, there's a default section where we need to set the white king value.
Okay. Under transform.
I'm sorry. The section immediately below transform.
White king to.
Yeah. So we're setting like that blueprint's white king to that white king that you can see there that is in our scene graph or level graph.
Okay.
Cool. And now if we compile and run it, we should be good. I would save current too.
Yeah.
Always be saving.
Yes. Okay, I have my hands here.
Cool.
Let's see.
Move the king over.
Okay. Just going to make sure select this viewport. Okay. I'm on the other side. I should turn. I'm gonna stop.
I wonder if the buttons are bidirectional or not.
Huh. That's a good point. We can check now.
Oh, yeah. Pressable.
First we have to move the. So is there a way to focus on everything? I'll just stop it.
Yeah, this is like begging to be run on actual hardware instead of it's like awkward using a mouse to simulate much more complex input.
Yeah. Top. Gonna start from there.
Well, presumably hitting play, that won't affect what's being shown in the level editor, right? Because it's going to focus in on the camera.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Right hand. Getting the.
It's like you can make an entire game out of like trying to awkwardly control things with his hands.
It looks like I'm hovering on it, but not really. Right.
Interesting. So I guess the first thing might be seeing if we need to rotate it.
Yeah.
I wonder if we can just rotate it without. Oh, I guess the camera's messed up anyway. We probably could have just edited it in real time rather than pausing.
Damn it. Sorry. Okay. So the reset button rotation, should I rotate the whole thing?
Yeah, sure.
Fine.
Nice.
Nice, okay. I'm on the other side. Okay. Well, let's get this pawn going first.
Oh, I wonder what happened there. I wonder how we messed with the camera position.
I know, yeah. Did I change the camera? Player starts. Okay. Ah. Yeah, how did that happen? Player start, the pawn, everything should be... Huh, there's a rotation over here. I'm sorry, it must be really painful to watch this at the moment.
It's all good. I am grateful. Like, if I was driving, I would be. I would both not necessarily be any more successful than you, but I would also be moving 1,000,000 miles a minute. So being forced to sit on my hands is valuable.
I just can't come all the way back. The hands, okay?
The good news is you can control remotely. Yeah. I also don't know how our king became a little slender king.
Yeah. Our perspective is totally screwed. Yeah, I was on it. Come on. Okay.
Cool. Now the moment of truth.
Yeah. All right. The button.
Oh, I think so. It turns light. It turns light when it's selected. Yes, it works. Hands are hard, and we still don't know what happened with our level setup, but the button works.
That was the most awkward interaction ever. Okay. Did I believe that? No. Interesting. Okay. Cool. I think this is a good place to stop, I guess. Is it?
Yeah. So it's also like we've completed the step of the tutorial. The last step in the tutorial is just like actually deploying it to a device, which I suspect like we probably don't need to do that on stream because I bet it is a bunch of really frustrating garbage configuring devices and device portals that is less interesting than playing with Unreal.
Yeah. So for the next time, I'll just deploy this to HoloLens, and then we'll start by showing that for next.
Yeah. Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. So thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming and for your help. Thanks so much. I know what we would do without you. Also, just wanted to say that we have a VR